is built solely called relational. Okay. It does not it does not mean that every data are relational data. It is not necessary to be like that. Data can be independent also. However, it is always preferred. Pandas are always preferred when it comes to relational data. And secondly, talking about label data. So label data are those which deals with some kind of label, like there is a person whose name is X. So to talk about that person, you are going to use that particular name, say X, right? And that X is the label for that particular person. My name is Hubach. So for if you want to talk about me, then you have to say my name, right? You have to say my name to the person that this guy is from Assam or something. So that name is the label that I bear. Every one of you bear your own name. That is your label. Similarly, some data are there in the real world which actually carries some kind of label with them. That label is given to them by others, like our names were decided by our parents or some relatives, right, or some friends. And some data automatically generates some kind of label, like this is a man, he's a man, she's a woman, like that. So Pandas is a library which is very comfortable working with relational or label data, both easily and intuitively. That means it also provides us some very interesting intuition regarding the data. It provides various data structures and operations for manipulating numerical and time series data. So Pandas also provide various data structures and operations to manipulate numerical data, then data that contain the numbers 0 to 9, and time series data. So time series data is it is very interesting thing, because consider like some data that follows that changes through time, that changes their trend through time. Okay, so for example, like the data of the weather data. Okay, so how the weather was yesterday, say it was sunny, today it is also sunny, tomorrow tomorrow is also sunny, then what will happen a day after tomorrow, right? So based on the report of the weather from the past 1 week, we can decide what kind of weather we can expect in form for tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. We can like make some predictions. So that kind of data are called time series data. Okay, because there is a time component related to it, and based on that they carry out some operations, right? So those data are called time series data. And Pandas library is actually very good and very efficient mean to work with time series data as well as the numerical data. Okay. Pandas library is built on the top of NumPy library. That means if we are considering Pandas library, then it works on the top of NumPy library. And it is very fast and it has high performance and productivity for users, because Pandas provide a very simple set of functions which you can call easily to check your data, to manipulate your data, to clean your data, or if you want to do some task with it using some machine learning algorithms and such, you can prepare that data to work in machine learning algorithms using Pandas. And Pandas are something which is widely used. NumPy and Pandas, these two libraries are widely used in artificial intelligence or machine learning algorithms and such. Okay, because in the implementation, these are thoroughly about implementation. I'm not talking about how machine learning is happening. Okay, I'm talking about the implementation of the particular machine learning algorithm. And this kind of libraries actually provide you a very sincere and a very good manner of information that can be easily manipulated by the machine learning algorithms, and they can easily find some insights, some knowledge from them, and based on those knowledge They can either make the prediction, or they can either or they can classify data to some places and such. All these things can be done. So pandas and NumPy, these are essentially you can use it in the pre-processing stage, as well as you can use it in the later stages also. So this is a website for pandas, the developer website. You can click on it. I guess you have already received this PPT. So you can click on it and you can go for it and see all the documentation that are available. Okay. So why we need pandas? So pandas are very fast and efficient for manipulating and analyzing data. Okay, pandas are very fast and efficient to manipulate and analyze data. And the data from different file objects, you can load it very easily, because there are different files that can be available there. And if you want to combine them in one panda, in one table inside the panda, you can, by using the, sorry, not inside the panda, using the pandas, then you can easily do it. Just you need to load them into your same pandas variable and data frame. It is called here. I'll talk about it later. So you can easily load them in the data frame and it will be okay to go. And also you can easily handle the missing data. So missing data is very important thing in when it comes to crunching or analyzing the data. Okay, because it happens, it really happens in real world scenario, because of there are lots of variables available for which data sometimes goes missing. You cannot find it. Like some data has come like there are no values inside it, or there are other scenarios where you get some garbage values and so on. So this kind of things can be handled by pandas very easily using this representation N, capital N, small a, capital N. You can easily get some this kind of representations, and when wherever in the object or in the table, wherever you get that kind of representation, you have to understand one very important thing, that is the data is missing over there. Okay, the data is missing. And it provides time series functionality. I have already told you weather data are the excellent example of time series data. The weather of the last 50 years, you can determine the weather of tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. I guess you already got this kind of notifications from Google that expect rain around this PM, expect rain around that PM, that AM, and usually it happens. Usually it rains, right? So how can Google make that kind of prediction? Using the time series data. Using the time series data, by studying the previous behavior of the weather, they can make the prediction that, okay, according to this previous behavior, there is a chance that this raining will happen around this PM or this AM, right there. So time series functionality is also provided by pandas, and powerful group by functionality for performing split, apply, combine operations on data sets. So the data, all the data that we receive all together are called data sets, and you can use group by operations. There are some group by operations which does the grouping of the data set, and that kind of functionality are provided in pandas. So that is why we use pandas. Okay, these are the advantages of using pandas. So installing and importing pandas. Installing is very easy. You can just type install pandas, or you can, if you are using Anaconda, then you can write conda install pandas. And one thing that you should know here is that pandas are more preferred if you are using Jupyter Notebook. Okay, because the representation becomes very nice when it comes to pandas. The representation becomes much finer and much nicer when it comes to when it comes to Jupyter Notebook. Why? Because it is interactive. It is interactive in nature, so the representation that are given by pandas becomes much finer. I'm not saying that you should not use idle or anything, but I am saying that it is preferable to use pandas with Jupyter Notebook, okay, or Google Colab, like I said. And importing, the standard way is import pandas as PD. Not standard way, the conventional way is import pandas as PD. So let me just write it out in this one. I'll just open it up, my browser window, because I'm not going to open my Jupyter notebook. My computer gets really frustrated. I don't know why, but let me just open it up. Just a second. Yeah. So I'll just delete all the NumPy stuff. Okay. For now, I'll just delete all the NumPy stuff. Okay, here. So instead of writing import NumPy as NP, I will also write with it import pandas as PD. Now this NP and this PD, these are called aliases. Okay, this NP or this PD, these are called as aliases. Alias. Okay, why? This PD will replace pandas. Instead of writing all the whole word pandas, you can simply write PD and that will be acceptable. Okay, so this PD will easily replace pandas. So that is why this PD or this NP, these are called as alias. Okay, these are called as alias. Now, this is about installing and importing. Okay, this is about how you can install and how you can import pandas. Moving on, there are two different types of data structure that pandas provide. In case of NumPy, it was n-dimensional array. The data structure that was provided by NumPy was n-dimensional array. And in case of pandas, there are two different types of data structure. One is series and the other one is data frame. By the way, data structures are something that we define to store the data efficiently. Okay, it's something that we define to store the data efficiently are called data structures. These are very informal definitions, by the way. These are not formal definitions. And as you can see in this diagram, the series data are like a column from the table, right? The series data is like a column from the table. And when you get some two-dimensional data, like when you get multiple columns from the table combined together to get one big table, that we can call as data frame. Simply speaking, series are the columns, and if you combine those series, you will get data frame. All right. So here it is about series. Pandas is a one-dimensional, sorry, not pandas, it should be a series. Series is a one-dimensional labeled array capable of holding data of any type. So please correct it in your system. Series, it should be series. Okay. Series is a one-dimensional label array capable of holding of data of any type. So this is another fundamental difference between NumPy and pandas here, because in NumPy it was not like you can store anything inside the array. The data that is stored inside the array should be same. But in case of pandas, that is not the case. In pandas, there is a series. Series is a one-dimensional label array capable of holding data of any type, and data can be integer, string, float, Python objects, etc., or it can be none, like that. So axis labels are collectively called as indexes. So then the axis labels, what are the axis labels? These are the axis labels, because for this particular row, I told you we are not, we didn't consider them as an axis, we consider them as a row or column, right? So this particular row, for this particular row, this is the index. This is the value that signifies that, okay, this one is the row. Okay, when I say index 2, that means you have to understand that this particular, I'm talking about this particular row. Okay, so one of this, one whole column, you can consider them as a series. Okay, with this one whole column, you can consider a series. This is another series, and this one is another series. So there are three series here. As you can see here, there are three series, and using this series, you can support, this object supports both integer and label based indexing, and it provides a host of methods for performing operations involving that particular index. So this kind of this series provide some both integer and label based indexing, and it provides a host of methods for performing operations that involves that particular index. And series, pandas series are nothing but column in an Excel sheet. So it is nothing but column in an Excel sheet. You can consider like you can consider an Excel sheet, and one column in that Excel sheet can be considered as a series. Okay, so series is more like fundamental type data. And if you want to create a series like this, creating a series, you can easily pass a list of values and letting pandas to create an default integer index. This is very simple manner, but this one that they are giving here, that I've taken here from Geeks for Geeks, you can see that this one is more it is more better. It is better way to do it. Okay, so let's try it out. In real world, a pandas series will be created by loading the data sets from existing storage, and the existing storage can be an SQL database. It can be a CSV file. CSV means comma separated values, the values that are separated by commas, simply speaking. And it can be an Excel file. It can it can be an Excel sheet, and that contains some numbers and all the things that are associated with it. It can be SQL database. That means it can be a database that contains some tables, and inside those tables there are some data. And pandas series can be created from list, dictionary, and scalar values also. So you can use list, the existing list. You can use dictionary. You can use NumPy array, and you can use other scalar values also. That means you can use one single value and you can put it inside a list, a series, and that will also work. So considering this example, let me try this. So s equals to pd dot series. Let me check if I have written this one correctly. Yeah, series s from the series should be capital. Okay, so I'm creating a series here in this one. Okay, yeah, so there is some deprecation. Fine. Deprecation means some things are changing inside the pandas as it is getting updated, and that is what deprecation is showing. Deprecation warning. Next is you can simply print the series to check whether there is something or not. Let's see. Okay, there is nothing inside this series, right? Moving on to the next one. You can take some data equals to np dot array. That means I'm considering a two-dimensional array, and I'm putting some strings inside there. So I'll put my name because I want to. Sorry. Sorry. There it is. You may or may not put some the data type, and data type is not necessary. It's fine. Now what I need to do, I need to create the series again. So s equals to pd dot series. What is the name of the series? What is the data that I want to put inside the series? This data set, right? So again, I will just simply print the series and let's see what happens. Done. Here we go. See, one very interesting thing that you should notice here is that these are the values that I have given, right? HSUVAS is the value that I have given here. However, they're putting some extra values here: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the data type is object, like this deprecation warning was saying. Instead of float 64, we are going to get the data type as object, right? So these are the indexes. Okay, by default, I told you, by default, some index will be created, some default integer index will be created, and you can avoid taking default integer index. You can create your own indexes also using dictionary. Using dictionary, the keys will become the indexes and the values will become the values. Like that you can create also. But however, there is one thing that you should notice here is very important, is this values that are being given. Okay, now whenever you want to access any part of this series, suppose this you want to access this letter V from this series, you can use this index of V and you can get it out, right? You can get it out. So this is something that is automatically given by pandas. Usually we get an integer indexing starting from 0, and up to the point the values inside the series is included, the indexing will go on. And when you print a series, when you check a series out, you can see that the series contains the values that you have given in a vertical way from top to bottom, and for each value of the series they are implementing an index. Okay, so these are the things that I wanted to point out in this particular part, creating a series. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, no questions. Then we'll move on to data frame. All right. So pandas data frame is a two-dimensional size mutable, and it is potentially heterogeneous. It can be homogeneous also. That means it can contain only one row, also one column also. That is also fine. But one column is called, say, we consider them as a series, right? But in case of data frame, they're two-dimensional, they're size mutable. That means you can change the size. You can include more and more elements inside the data frame if you want. That is always open. And they're potentially heterogeneous tabular data structure with labeled axes. So axes are what? Rows and columns. These are the axes, and the data are included inside those rows and columns. And you can see that it can be easily considered as a combination of many series, right? There are lots of columns here in this example. As you can see, there are lots of columns here, and there are lots of rows also, right? So it is obviously, it is two-dimensional because you can consider a row and a column to access the data. Two data is required to access one particular data. That is the data from the rows and the data from the columns. Number of the rows and name of the column, right? And pandas data frame is a two-dimensional data structure. It is in a tabular fashion in rows and columns, and it consists of three principal components. One is data that are included there, the rows that shows one dimension of the data frame, and the other dimension is the columns. So there are three principal components, three main parts of the data frame, that is rows, columns, and data. All right. So apart from series, data frame is a little bit sophisticated. Okay, data frame is a little bit sophisticated than series, and I would suggest that you pay more attention to data frame, because if you can understand data frame easily, then understanding series is not a problem. You will be very easily, you will be able to understand series. All right. And one thing that you should notice here is that data frame, you can easily construct a data frame by combining some series. I'm not saying that you should combine some series, okay? Because creating a data frame is another interesting topic to discuss on. We'll discuss in the next slide. So you can easily create a data frame by passing NumPy array with index and labeled columns. So you can put some column name in the NumPy array, and you can easily create a data frame. In real world, pandas data frame will be created by loading the datasets from existing storage, not database yet, datasets. Storage can be SQL database, CSV file, and Excel file. So here also you can use a list, dictionary, or some list of dictionaries, or some kind of SQL database, or some comma separated values, CSV files, or Excel files. All these things are available for you to use. And the interesting thing is, in data frame, we get more sophisticated way to represent the data. Okay, sophisticated way to represent the data, and the data frame is much more used in real world scenario with real world data sets than the series. Okay, in the real world data set, in the real world scenario, data frames are more used, and data frames are more useful also, because they can take any and all kinds of data, and they can represent those data in a very nice manner. They can easily represent the data in a tabular manner, and tabular manner is very good for us to study, right? Using a table, you can understand lots of things. So creating a data frame, we need to create the data frame constructor. So pd dot let's do this df. Usually we name the data frames as df, by the way. Okay, this is another like convention, like naming pandas as pd, numpy as np. Similarly, that we name a data frame as df. Okay, so here it is. Let's see this works or not. Yeah, it works fine. So I've created a data frame named df. Okay, now I'll insert some data inside this data frame. So these are the list of data. Say data, let's put d here. Say it's a list of data like a, then say b, then c, say d, e, like that. Okay, 5 data are enough. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert them inside the data frame. Okay, so I'm going to insert them inside the data frame like this, pd.data frame lst. So df equals to pd dot frame lst. That means here it is d. So let's see what happens. Let me also check the df also. Okay, see, the representation of list and the data frame is somewhat different, right? The representation of list and data frames are somewhat different. How? If I change these letters to my name, that is H S U V A and then S, if I put like this, then you can see the difference more clearly, I guess. Okay, now notice here. In series, there was one column only. Sorry, apologies.
I didn't catch that. Could you try again?
Sorry, right? Yeah. So in series, okay, I said series, so Siri got open. Sure, sorry. In series, there is one column only, right? So we don't need to name anything to the column. We don't need to put any name or any kind of indexing is not required over here. They simply put their own indexing scheme. In this case, in data frame, you can see that there's a name for the series. Okay, there's a not series for this particular column, and the representation is also different. How different? They're represented in much more tabular manner rather than like this, right? So data frame is more constructed than series. There are two-dimensional representation. One is this one and the other one is this one. That is the column name, this is the column name, and this is the row name. So this kind of representations you can easily find over here. Okay, you can easily find over here in case of data frame. So I hope you have understood the difference between series and the data frame, right? Series is more primitive thing and data frame is much more sophisticated than series, and data frame actually uses two-dimensional representation. Now, if there is only one row to discuss about, then you don't actually need a data frame. However, if you want a two-dimensional representation, then it's better to use a data frame rather than a series. All right. So this is about creating data frame. Next is using dictionary. If you want to create a data frame using dictionary like this is a very interesting example. So if you want to create a fruit stand that sells apples and oranges, and you want to have a column for each fruit and a row for each customer purchase, how many purchase was done by a particular customer. Okay, so for that you can use a pandas data frame which will easily organize this dictionary into a tabular format. Okay, and accessing will become very easy. So let me just show you how. This one is very interesting example, and you can consider it as your basic. Okay, this one is the most basic example as you saw. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the data frame. Okay, so say fruits equals to, it's a dictionary by the way. So I'm going to insert some values, say apple apple. Apple has suppose 3 customers bought like 2 apples. First one bought 2 apples, next one bought 5 apples, and the third one bought 8 apples. Okay. Next is yeah, next one is orange. So the first one bought say 5 or 6 oranges, the second customer bought 2 oranges, and the third customer bought 9 oranges. All right, so this is the dictionary. Obviously, next what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another data frame, pd dot data frame. Sorry, this one should be capital F. Yeah, data frame. And notice the names. Okay, the name, that if you mistakenly put some wrong spelling or some wrong format in that name, then also the output will not come. So here I'm going to put fruits. Now I'm going to try to display df data frame 2. Okay, so let's see the output here. Here you go. See, the name of the dictionary has 2 parts, right? A dictionary has 2 parts. One part is called key, that is the left hand side of the column, and the second part is called values, right? It's a key value pair. So the key comes as the name of the column, okay, the label of the column, and the values are included in at each row, right? At each row the values are included. If you increase the values, the table length will also increase. If you decrease the value, the table length will also decrease. One thing that you should also notice, that there is no indexing for this line, because these are the name of the columns, right? These are the name of the columns, so you don't need to do any indexing. These names of the columns will be used to find some data out of it. Okay, so this is how you can create data frame using dictionary. So I've talked about list, and I have also talked about dictionary. These are the 2 advanced data structures that we discussed a few classes back. And later on, when we go for projects and stuff, what we are going to do is we are directly going to pick up one file like say some CSV or Excel file, and we are going to consider that file. We are going to pick that file, and we are going to put directly that file to our data frame. Okay, these are the basic examples. These are the examples where data are very limited. This one I have 4 data. I showed you the example with 3 data. Okay, because it's an introductory part. However, you can, when it comes to a large amount of data, the data frame can hold any amount of data, because it is of a mutable type in that particular regard, and the data will be represented by their column names. Okay, so in the later classes, we will try some projects, and in those projects we are going to try this kind of things. All right, now writing data in pandas. This is very interesting. Sorry, not writing, viewing data. So if you want to view the data from the top, you can write df.head. I'm leaving these 4 functions to you. Please try it out on yourself. All right, so you can put df.head, function brackets are required because it's a function, and you can see the data from the top rows. Okay, the column names will always be there, don't worry. Indexes are also going to be there, and you can put that data frame you can check that data frame from the top using df.head. And if you want to see if you want to check the data, what are the data that are included in at the end, you can put df.tail. So obviously the names are very easy. Using head, you can access it from head. Using tail, you can access it from the tail, from the bottom, from the top, from the bottom. To view the index and the columns, you can use df.index. If you want to check them out from the indexes, you can use df.index. And if you want to check the columns, what are the name of the columns, you can easily use df.column. columns. All right, df.index will give you the indexes. In this case, if we use df.index, df2.index, then we'll get, let's see what happens. Yeah, so these are the index range. The indexes are in a range indexing, because I'm not giving you any custom indexing, right? So there is a definite range that has been set up by the pandas, and range index starts from 0 and it stops at 3, and at each step it is moving, it is increasing by 1. So this is the range index. And if you check the columns, let's see, these are the column names, apple and orange. Okay, these are the column names. And what are the data type of the column? See, this D type is directly derived from NumPy, by the way. Now, I told you that pandas are created on the top of NumPy for more, for better and faster data processing. So this did some characteristics from the NumPy has been inherited by pandas. So the D type has been inherited. And what is the D type? That is object. All right, so the D type is object. Simple. So this is about viewing data in pandas. Now, converting pandas data frame to NumPy arrays. There are lots of things written here, but don't worry. So it is a very simple example. You can easily convert some data to NumPy array using df.toNumPy, to_NumPy. So that the name of the data frame .to_NumPy, it gives a NumPy representation of the underlying data. Now there is an important question here. The question is that what happens when the data are of different types? Because pandas support different types of data. In a panda column, you can have some data that are integer, some data that are float, right? However, in NumPy array, that is not supported at all, right? That is not supported at all. What will happen then? Then pandas will find the name NumPy D type that can hold all of the D types in the data frame. Okay, so when you call data frame .toNumPy, pandas will automatically find the NumPy data type that can hold all the data types in the data frame. Okay, so this is important. This is why this is important, because giving this NumPy the data frame .toNumPy is not sorry, that it doesn't mean that you are going to have all kinds of data in the same type. Okay, to get the same type of data, you need to use NumPy data frame .toNumPy. Okay, and this can be an expensive operation when you have columns with different types of data. It can be an expensive operation where the data frame has columns with different types of data. If the columns have different types of data, then pandas have to make a decision. What kind of decision pandas have to make? It has to make the decision what kind of data type we are going to consider in this column. What will be the prevailing data type that we are going to consider in this particular column? So this is a very simple function, but there are lots of intricacies inside here. That is toNumPy function. Okay, so this is about converting pandas data frame to NumPy arrays. This head, tail, index, columns, and toNumPy. Please try it out on your own. If you get any issues, let me know. Now, why pandas are used in artificial intelligence? That is another question. The pandas are used with conjunction of other libraries that are used for data science. Okay, pandas are used in conjunction with other libraries that are used in data science and obviously subsequently AI. So it is built on the top of NumPy library, which means a lot of structures from the NumPy are used or replicated in pandas. That means we get this kind of data, like we already got like D type thing, that those things are there, and other libraries that structures are also replicated in pandas. The data produced by pandas are also used as input for plotting functions. Now you should see a step-by-step process here. Okay, So we get raw data. Suppose we are getting raw data. What we can do is we can put those raw data inside some columns. We can put some raw data inside some arrays and such using NumPy. Then we can use pandas to represent the data better so that we can easily understand the data better. So you can put some column names and you can put those data inside those columns. The third thing you can do to understand that data better is a visual representation. Okay, visual representation are always better to understand, right? We have seen that ourselves. Pictures speak more than written words in many cases. So using those plotting functions of matplotlib, we can easily represent the data in a pictorial way, in a graphical way. So from pandas data frame, we can take them and we can use them in our matplotlib plot. Okay, matplotlib plot, we can use them inside there and we can get some good results. Similarly, pandas data frames contain those data that are refined, right? So we can use statistical analysis functions in SciPy, and we can use some, you can use those data frames in machine learning algorithms from scikit-learn. And we can also use in deep learning implementations that are available in things like TensorFlow or PyTorch. All right. So what I'm trying to say here is that pandas or NumPys are very useful in terms of artificial intelligence in data science. If you are going to design a website, pandas may not be required in that case. But if you are working with artificial intelligence, you have to know Panda. You have to know Panda better, and you have to know NumPy better. To know Panda, you have to know NumPy. So pandas are very useful in AI. Jupyter notebooks actually offer a good environment for using pandas to do data exploration and modeling. But you can also use in just as easily. It is as easy as it is. Okay. So pandas are useful in terms of data exploration from text editors or using Jupyter notebooks. Jupyter notebooks are more refined because we get this kind of tables. You can see this is by the way, this is a implementation of Jupyter notebook only. Okay, this is the Google implementation of Jupyter notebook. So if you use a Jupyter notebook, the screen will be white obviously, and some things will be different. But here also you can see that this table looks better. If you use the same thing in idle, you will get the table, but the formatting might be somewhat different. So it is always better that you use pandas in Jupyter notebook. Okay, not better, it's somewhat preferable. I prefer it personally. I prefer it. It's up to you where you use it. However, you should use it, you should try it out. The basic concept, you can how, what is data frame, what kind of things that a data frame contain, and all these things. If you can clear it out, then it will be very helpful. Okay, and there is one more thing that I wanted to tell you, that understanding the theoretical knowledge behind it is very important as well, because if you can understand the theoretical things behind it, it will not be hard for you to do the practical part. Okay, to implementation will not be hard. Understanding theoretics behind it is a little bit harder than we think, because data frame contains lots of data in two-dimensional way, how they're represented. If you don't know how they're represented, then you will find it very hard to represent it. Okay, so this is all about pandas, I guess. Yeah, this is all about pandas. This was an introductory class. In yesterday's class, I got a feeling like in lots of the things that you did not understand. Hopefully you did, I don't know. But I hope you got the hang of the basics of pandas today, and we shall take an advanced study to dig deeper very soon. Till then, I try to understand all these concepts here, like what is Panda, how you can install Panda, and then the data structures of pandas are very important. You can always find them out in the pandas website. Okay, in detail, you can find it out in the pandas website, and the series and the data frame you need to understand, especially data frame. because series is one column only from the data frame. And understanding the data frame, how to create a data frame, and how the data frame maps some data from the dictionary is also important. Like this one written here, each key value item in the corresponds to a column in the resulting data frame, like that. And all these things are very important. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And yeah, the session is open for all. Okay, I guess there is no question. So I'll stop sharing. Okay. It's important for you to understand all these things. Then we'll move on to learn some advanced concepts on pandas as well. And in the next class, we'll use these concepts to work on Matplotlib. Okay. In the next class, we'll use these concepts to work on Matplotlib. And after Matplotlib, we will go to machine learning concepts from scikit-learn. I'm not going to show whole implementation because the whole implementation will give you, might give you some headache, but don't worry about it. But we'll talk about scikit-learn and what kind of data, how the machine learning algorithms are implemented there, and we'll try some machine learning algorithms on ourselves. Okay, so I guess we can close this session for today. We still have 5 minutes left, so if anyone wants to ask any questions, feel free to ask. Anyone's having any problem in the earlier classes? You did something that you didn't understand that you wanted to ask?
If you if you have any query, just ask. See, you have to be perfect in Python, so please do it. If any or you are having query from anywhere, what already has been taught, please ask. Even you can ask in the group also. Okay. I think no question. So you can end the session, sir, because Abir has
Sure.
guitar classes from 7:30.
Yeah.
If anybody
Thank
has
you.
question, ask.
Yeah, sure. I have already pasted the email ID in the chat yesterday. So if you want to contact me directly, you can contact me through the email. Okay.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you.